The Battle of the Little Bighorn, known as Custer's Last Stand, has been shrouded in myth for nearly 150 years. But what if everything you've been told is wrong? I'm History Journal Reloaded, and today we're going to reveal 3 major lies about this historic battle, using testimony from the last man who heard Custer's final orders. Trumpeter John Martin. As the final messenger to escape the battle, Martin carried Custer's last plea for help through enemy fire. His eyewitness account contradicts nearly every official version of events. Here are the 3 biggest lies you've been told about Custer's last stand. Lie number 1. Custer never reached the river. The truth: Martin saw Custer's troops just 300 yards from the Little Bighorn River before their retreat, much closer than historians claim. Lie just 2. The cavalry was instantly overwhelmed. The truth: Martin describes a crucial 10-minute pause where officers scouted the village through binoculars and debated tactics before attacking. Lie Dr. 3. No survivors knew what really happened. The truth: Martin knew exactly what happened, but the army ignored his account of Reno's panic, Benteen's delays, and the lost messages. This isn't just about correcting historical facts. It's about understanding why these lies were created and maintained for generations. By the end of this video, you'll see Custer's last stand in a completely new light. Before we dive in, please like and subscribe to support the community. Trumpeter John Martin, Custer's orderly, on June 25, 1876, recounts the events of that tragic day. Martin, alongside Trumpeter's mate from G Troop and Bishop of C Troop, were Custer's sole orderlies. Martin is adamant about this. He also recalls Lieutenant James A. Nowlan, the quartermaster, remaining with the wagons at Powder River. At the Rosebud's mouth, Scout Mitch Bouye alerted General Terry to Sitting Bull's camp. Officers urged Bouye to guide them, but he refused, fearing for his life. Bouye had once stayed with Sitting Bull, who placed a bounty of 100 ponies on him. Custer vowed that if Bouye died, the entire unit would fall too. Martin remembers no Indians on the ridge when Custer split from Reno. He details Custer's column advancing in pairs, Gray Horses Central, before ascending the ridge. Martin's path matches Curley's and Sergeant Daniel Knipe's accounts. He confirms Custer's trail crossed Reno's retreat route. On the ridge, Custer paused for 10 minutes as officers scanned the village below with binoculars. They spotted children playing and dogs wandering near teepees, but no warriors or horses, save scattered grazing ponies. The officers debated the warriors' absence, guessing they hunted buffalo, having seen skinned carcasses earlier. Custer rallied the men, shouting, "We'll cross the river and seize the village." The troops cheered, tossing hats as officers agreed success would force the Indians to surrender or endanger their families. Here, Sergeant Knipe left with Custer's final order for Benteen. Martin, carrying the same written order, followed moments later as he narrates. Though neither he nor Knipe were the last to see Custer alive, their testimonies are vital. The column advanced with attention, fours right, column right, march. They descended, turned left, and moved down a ravine toward a dry creek. After half a mile, Lieutenant Cook stopped them, drafting Benteen's message, handed to Martin. Custer ordered, "Trumpeter, retrace our path and find Benteen. Deliver this. If safe, return. If Indians attack, stay with Benteen and come back together." Martin rode back but heard gunfire to his right before reaching the ridge, likely Reno's men fighting at Ford B. He later met Boston Custer, rushing to join the command. From the ridge, Martin saw Indians surging like bees toward the ford, waving buffalo hides, while Custer's forces retreated toward the battlefield. Martin never shared this at Reno's inquiry, as he wasn't asked. He suspects the court avoided full disclosure and was never debriefed by officers later. As Martin rode on, Indians atop bluffs shot at him, hitting his horse's hip and splashing blood on his back. He raced to Benteen Creek, delivering the message. Benteen asked Custer's location and if he was engaged. Martin replied Custer was 3 miles off, under attack, but said no more. Returning, Martin saw no sign of Reno or fighting where Reno's men later appeared. He recalls Benteen advancing when Reno, hatless, urged him to wait while regrouping. Yet neither Benteen nor Reno questioned Martin about Custer's position after reaching Reno Heights. Meanwhile, Benteen barely avoided injury when a bullet shot off his boot heel, prompting him to quip, "Pretty close call. Try again." Martin also confirms 4 Crow scouts stayed with Reno on the hill during the 2-day fight. He recounts an exhaustive battlefield search stretching to the river, with teams sent to recover the dead. Sergeant Butler of L Troop was found this way, his dead horse beside him. Martin questions if Butler carried a message, as he wasn't an orderly that day. He also saw a heap of corpses in a ravine between Custer's position and the river. One fallen sergeant responsible for the troops' pay had $500 in shredded bills strewn over him. Martin notes far fewer dead horses than men on Custer's field. He verifies Lieutenant Cook's sideburn was scalped, skin and all, by Cheyenne warrior Wooden Leg, as others attested. Martin's description of Custer's wounds matches Tom O'Neill's and Hammond's accounts, and his details of Tom Custer's injuries align with Hammond's. He observes Keogh's gold chain and Agnus Dei Catholic emblem were left intact, later retrieved by Benteen. Martin spotted many dead Indians in riverside brush but didn't tally them. He mentions Comanche, the wounded horse, trailing the troops unprompted to the riverboat. Initially left for dead, it survived. When General Terry arrived June 27th, Martin led him to where he'd left Custer, recounting the event. Custer first paused on Weir Hill, surveying a third of the village, the Hunkpapa and Blackfoot camps. He then veered right, descending into a coulee toward Dry Creek. Next, he turned left, following Dry Creek straight to the village. Midway to the Little Bighorn, the full village came into view, Custer's first glimpse of its southern end. He halted, and Lieutenant Cook drafted Benteen's message, which Martin delivered. Retracing steps, Martin shortcut across high ground instead of following Dry Creek back. From the ridge he glimpsed Custer's command distant on the plain as Indians from the village charged the river, waving buffalo hides. The battalion appeared to retreat from the river. This was his last sight of the 5 living companies. He pressed up the coulee. Soon I met a mounted C Troop soldier, unnamed, who asked about the command's location. I warned they were deep in the coulee and urged him to retreat to the pack train to avoid Indian encirclement. He rode on anyway. Next, I spotted Boston Custer and rejoined Benteen's unit. As Benteen advanced toward the river, we turned north along the bluffs. There, we found 3 Crow scouts. White Man Runs Him, Goes Ahead, and Harry McCassin, who pointed out Reno's men retreating across the valley below. I confirm recent claims that Custer never reached the river are false. I rode with him far closer to the river than where his body was later found. I saw his command on the flat plain, just hundreds of yards from the river, pulling back. Until lately, no one questioned Custer's push to the river as I described. When Benteen met Reno on the hill, Reno, hatless and shaken, asked him to halt. Benteen showed Cook's note, and Reno cried, "I've lost half my men. I did all I could." Then Indians gathered in the gully, climbing toward us. Benteen led the charge at our formation's front. Earlier, Indians had been close enough to throw rocks into our lines. We killed 3 during the charge. 1, left behind, died the evening of June 25th. On the 27th, I showed Benteen where I'd left Custer. He estimated Ford B was 600 yards off. I didn't go to the ford with Terry. When he arrived, Reno introduced me. "General, this carried Custer's last message." Terry questioned me about the ride, then said, "You're lucky. I wish you fortune." In the village, I saw 2 teepees holding dead Indians and a blanket-covered pile beneath a tree. Neep showed me a white man's body in a teepee. The story of Custer's last stand has been twisted for generations, but the truth is finally coming to light. We now know Custer's men made it to the river, had time to retreat, and that the only surviving witness was silenced. This leaves us with unsettling questions. Why did the Army bury the truth? What else have we been lied to about? And how many other heroic last stands might be complete fabrications? I want to hear what you think. Which part of this cover-up shocks you the most? Let me know in the comments, and if you believe history should be told truthfully, not conveniently, make sure to subscribe. Because the search for real history doesn't end here. It's only just begun.